Well, I wanted to talk to my family and my friends and the supporters of the ministry of the Christian Research Institute and give my latest health update. And I can tell you at the start, the news is all good. I mentioned in a previous video that I am now 100% my son, Paul Stephen, meaning that my blood system is not my own, my immune system is not my own. It is my son, Paul Stephen. So he's taken over, and that's really good news. It's particularly good news that it happened as quickly as it did. Obviously, with his blood system, his immune system, his cells are attacking any vestiges that there might be of cancer left in my body, though there's no evidence that there is any. But some added good news is that over the last week, the doctors have determined that there's no indication whatsoever of what is a typical problem with an allogeneic transplant, and that is graft-versus-host disease. That's where not only does the graft, which is Paul Stephen, my son, not only does his system attack, let's say, any random cancer cells there might be, but it can also attack your good organs and your good cells. That's the graft-versus-host disease problem that often happens with an allogeneic transplant. But in my case, there's no evidence that that is happening whatsoever. So my good cells, my organs are not being attacked, only any vestiges there might be of the mantle cell lymphoma cells. So that's a second note of good news. A third is that some of you may remember that I almost died, I think it was around June 25th. I should know the exact date, but on that date I went unconscious. Fortunately, my son was in the room. They got me to ICU. What happened there was a blank. It has been explained to me by my wife and my kids, but I don't remember anything that happened in ICU. So those 3 days are virtually blank for me. During that time, there was a lot of trauma with my heart. I went into, I think it's called AFib, and my beats per minute were over 200. But in the aftermath of that, there was always the worry that there might have been some permanent damage done to my heart. But as of this week, I find out that my heart is perfectly fine, no residual effects of what happened in ICU. So that was another note of good news, for which I'm deeply grateful. I'm in day 57 since my new birthday. My new birthday was June 11. That's when the transplant took place. So there's my regular birthday and my new birthday, because I have a completely new system. It's like I was reborn as a baby at that time. At some point, I'm going to have to be taking my immune system shots. So I'm in day 57 of the 100 days that takes place after the transplant, in which you have to be very, very careful. You're in partial isolation and so forth. But the graft-versus-host disease, they look at various factors. They look at your cognitive ability. Has your cognitive ability diminished any since the transplant? And in my case, there's no sign of that whatsoever. Some may argue with that, but I'm doing the work that I did before, and I feel totally capable and not diminished in the least in that sense. They look at many other factors as well. Do you have nausea, vomiting? What's happened with your skin? Do you have skin rashes? And these kinds of things. All of those are indicators of whether you're going to experience graft-versus-host disease in the future. It's still possible, but at this point, there's no sign of that whatsoever. So I was reminded today of Proverbs chapter 3, "My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Do not let kindness and truth leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart, so you'll find favor and good repute in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not upon your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he'll make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Turn away from evil, and be healing to your body and refreshment to your bones. Honor the Lord from your wealth and from the first of all your produce, so that your barns may be filled with plenty and your vats overflow with new wine. And then these words that are so precious to me. My son, do not reject the discipline of the Lord or loathe his reproof. For whom the Lord loves, he reproves, even as a father the son in whom he delights. I'm so thankful for the intersection of my life with the divine. I'm so thankful for the graces that we receive within the context of the church, whereby we are transformed from one glory to another. And I'm so thankful for the remembrance of trusting the Lord with all your heart and leaning not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledging him, and then he will direct your paths. I'm looking forward to many years of fruitful service in the kingdom. I suppose in some ways I can say I'm not out of the woods yet. I'm in day 57 of my 100-day odyssey in partial isolation, as I've mentioned. I thought the days actually started when I got out of the hospital, but they start with my new birthday, June 11, which was the day of my transplant. So June 12 was day 1. So I'm now on day 57 of 100 days, and after that 100 days, I'll even be out of partial hibernation. I'm thankful that the drugs that I have to take on an ongoing basis, which sometimes make you feel a little loopy, are being cut down dramatically. Again, they were cut down today. I don't have to take the heart medication anymore after another 4 days, and the heart medication that I was taking has been cut in half. And again, that's because there's no indication that I've suffered any damage to my heart during that time in ICU. So I'm just grateful for the progress, and I'm well aware that this is not a function of medicine. It is a function of God using medicine. But I think more so God using the prayers of God's people on my behalf. I happened to walk into a partially empty restaurant. When I do that, I have to have my mask on. And the strangest thing, the man at the counter recognized me and said he had been praying for me. I was just totally flabbergasted. I mean, this was a random restaurant that I walked into, and here's the man at the counter saying that he's praying for me. And of course, so many of my dear friends and supporters of the ministry of the Christian Research Institute are praying for me on a regular basis, and I never take it for granted. Whenever someone says they pray for me, I honestly get very emotional inside. I'm so grateful, dear friends, for your love and your care for me, your thoughts on my behalf, but also prayer firing the winning shot. I'm grateful for God's grace in my life. I'm still somewhat weak, but every day I feel a little stronger. And so my progress is really, really good, and for that I am grateful. So once again, this is just a short update on my health condition, and I'm so happy to be able to bring good news. If it was bad news, I would bring that to you as well, but I've had nothing but good news. I almost died on June 25th, also on February 4. So I had two close encounters with death. But God gave me back my life. My life now completely belongs to him. And so I'm aware of that every conscious waking moment, so that what I do is for his glory, for the extension of his kingdom. Again, thank you so much for your prayers, dear friends, supporters of the ministry of the Christian Research Institute, family members that will be watching this. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have been my rock. You have been my support, and I'll never forget you for that. And the only thing I can do to repay that is to serve the Lord with all the vigor and strength that he gives me. Thanks for watching the video. Look forward to talking to you in the near future. I'm going to go have a nice lunch with my wife, who has been taking care of me, just like she'd take care of a baby. Hopefully I haven't been too high maintenance, but she has been unbelievable as always. She's truly my visiting angel. So long for now.